Talk about what's going on with the Eagles, and let's start with the news from a week ago when they signed Nnamdi Asomugha. Was that a surprise to you?
Definitely, especially after the trade for Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie. I mean, everybody pretty much had us out of the Nnamdi sweepstakes at that point. And then, I heard the report and I didn't believe it. I had to, rush home and see it on TV for myself. I mean, it's still kind of unbelievable.
So while some fans might have said after your point about trading for Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, well, there's our other cornerback and there's Asante Samuel to go along with him. Well, you get Asomugha, all of a sudden the pecking order changes. You start there, right?
Yeah, immediately the questions start to creep in about, are we going to keep Asante? Are we really going to have 3 Pro Bowl corners on this roster? And, right now Asante is at training camp, but he's not practicing yet. We still don't know what they're planning on doing yet. Nobody's been really direct in their responses to questions like that, so you don't know.
I have 2 questions for you. You write an article about whether he's in or he's out, so that's one question, what your opinion is of that. And number 2, he has lived up to the money the Eagles spent on him up to this point, has he not?
Oh, absolutely, and then some, I think. The guy has been, I think he's got, 35 interceptions in the past, 6 or 7 years or something. I mean, he's up there when you talk about interceptions per year, and he's a game changer. But I think the biggest issue with us and Asante right now, and him sticking around, you see a lot of the people who are coming in, like Nnamdi and even DRC, they've said, they wanted to come here to be a part of a winning atmosphere. And, the chance to actually win a Super Bowl has brought in people, like Vince Young, Jason Babin, all these people want to be around this winning culture. Asante, unfortunately, already has ring. He doesn't care about winning Super Bowl. He probably just wants to get paid, like, you said his tattoo says. So, I mean, we're not going to be able to force him to restructure his deal to stick around and maybe win a title. He just wants to get money.
And that also brings us to DeSean Jackson. With the history with Randy Moss saying he's retiring, with Terrell Owens very much in limbo in that situation, DeSean Jackson not only has a chance to take the mantle, if he hasn't already, as one of the best receivers in football, but the latest in a line of divas, or guys that come with some baggage. What baggage does DeSean have? How good a receiver is he? And what is the situation? Why isn't he in camp with the Eagles?
I mean, we've been here before. I don't want to draw comparisons to 2004, 2005, what we went through with Theo yet. But I mean, it could get to that point. We don't know what he's asking for and what the team is getting. We have no specifics yet. All we know is that, he's still not in camp. And with the holdout rules, I think he has about a week left to actually join the team until he loses an accredited year or something like that. I think it's about a week away, if I'm correct. But, I mean, God, this is a guy that you really, really, really want to keep on your team. I don't think there's a team in the league that would end up with a guy like DeSean Jackson and be okay with losing him to somebody else. I mean, if we can get him for, $5 or $6 million a year, then, I think that might realistically happen and he'll be back in camp. But if he's asking for San Antonio Holmes money, at this point, with all the signings that we just had and the people we still have under cap, I don't think we're going to be able to pay him $10 million a year. Again, he's a guy you don't want to lose, and you want to do everything you can to bring him onto the team. But if him and Drew are asking for something unrealistic, it might not happen.
And oh, by the way, it seems like just yesterday that Donovan McNabb was there, but on the other hand, it seems like it's been years now since he's been gone. So it's Michael Vick, and now it's Vince Young. What are your thoughts about them bringing Vince Young in and all the talk about what he could add to this team?
Well, there's 2 arguments to Vince Young. I mean, there's the one that looks at his personal side and says, look at this guy's history. He was, throwing his shoulder pads into the stands, and he was cursing off probably one of the best coaches in history to ever get fired, Jeff Fisher, in front of the team. I mean, that wasn't a great, I guess, legacy, you could say, for him to walk out on in Tennessee. But then there's the other side where it says he wins a lot of games. And, if you want to YouTube that 99-yard drive he did, I mean, if you want to doubt Vince Young's talent, I mean, you take a look at something like that and you go, well, here's a guy who has some of those intangible qualities to sort of make the plays when you need him and stuff. So in that respect, that he's got, like, the personal side, but also the promise on the athletic side, it reminds me a lot of Mike Vick. Not athletically, he's obviously not as fast, or maybe not even as gifted as a passer, but
no, I see your point. I see your point. Similar athletic style type quarterback, but a guy that's won also.
Yeah. So, hopefully bringing him in under Andy Reid, who's proven over the past 4 years to be probably one of the best quarterbacks coaches in the league right now. I mean, with what he did with Cobb and Michael Vick, and even, drafting Donovan McNabb and what he became and what he was for a long time in Philly. I mean, hopefully a guy like Vince Young could learn under the coaches that we have here and, you know, shake out some of those bad qualities.
All right, Keith Heumiller from Inside the Eagles. Keith, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Okay.